This is an exclusive House of Ramirez and Dolo Darnell partnership.
Hey guys, this is H.O.R. Ramirez. Y'all already know what's up. We're here cooling it in Atlanta. I'm here with my sister. She's doing great things here in Atlanta. She's, she has a great story. And this story has actually touched home. We'll get into it later in the interview. But my sister is actually here to give us pieces of information that some of us might know, some of us might not know. And I'm just very appreciative for all the time that she's pouring into us so we can become informed. It's very important that we're informed. Can you please tell us who you are, where you are from? Tell us who you are, sis.
Absolutely. So first, I want to just give a shout out to House of Ramirez for just having me on this platform. I do not take it lightly. I really appreciate the opportunity. So I just want to make sure that I address you and tell you how much I appreciate you. So my name is Latoya Dwight, and I am the founder of the Fibroid Pandemic. Born and raised in upstate New York, the youngest of 8. So I come from an uber large family. I am a wife, I am a mother, I'm a sister, a best friend. I'm also a mentor. And by profession, I am an employee benefits consultant. So basically what that means is I negotiate business-to-business contracts with insurance carriers on behalf of employers, whether it's regarding their group medical, dental, life, disability benefits, insurance. I have my hands all in it. I've been in the industry for 21 years, and it just seems funny even saying 21 years, but obviously I like it. I am a graduate of, I went to undergrad at DeVry. I got my master's at Troy, and I have a professional designation of registered health underwriter, certified in healthcare consumerism, registered employee benefit consultant, and that's pretty much Latoya Dwight wrapped all in one.
Wow, girl, yes. You got like the breeze flying everywhere. I'm like, whoa. But it just shows the commitment that you have and the drive that you have to give back to our community. You're very knowledgeable, and thank you so much for shouting me out, but I'm going to shout you out right now because it really takes that love for thyself and the community to pour back into us. So I want to thank you for that. Thank you. That's
absolutely
super awesome.
My pleasure.
Yeah. But besides going to school, dedicating yourself, being passionate about what it is that you're doing career-wise, you also have a platform where you're giving us information, and yeah, I want to get into that. Can you please tell us about the fibroid pandemic?
Absolutely. So before I tell you about the fibroid pandemic, let me tell you how I developed it.
Yes.
So as I, grew into my motherly adulthood, I met my now husband, my then boyfriend. We were dating for a while, and I decided at that moment that I was too old as an age, too mature to have an unplanned pregnancy. So he and I both agreed that I would get the Mirena IUD implanted. Got the Mirena IUD, my menstrual cycle stopped. We had a lot of fun, as you can probably imagine. But then it was time to go get my IUD replaced because they actually expire after a certain amount of time. At that moment, I was going to my OBGYN for about 12 years, and she was unable to locate the IUD. So she sent me to ultrasound. Again, this is all within the same exact doctor's visit. So she sent me to ultrasound. The ultrasound tech, they performed a topical ultrasound, could not find the IUD. They did a vaginal, they located it. But then with good bedside manners, the ultrasound tech says, by the way, how are your fibroids coming along? And I go, what's that? Had no idea. And I am the type of person who goes to get my annual physical examination, my annual PAP on a regular basis. I don't miss it. Well, actually, since COVID, I have not gone since 2019. I didn't go all of 2020. So I was really confused, and you can tell immediately that she was like, oh, she probably misspoke. So she sent me back in there with the doctor. The doctor goes, well, yeah, we saw some fibroids on the ultrasound. We recommend you get a hysterectomy. Now, remember, I was only going to get my IUD replaced. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm an employee benefits consultant. So I see these hospital bills. So I knew that a hysterectomy was a major surgery. So I asked her, where did they come from? How did I get it? Is it hereditary? Is it based on my food? Is it based on genetics? Like, what is it? And she did say, well, in the medical industry, there's no known fact as to what causes fibroids. However, she's been a doctor and treating patients for so long, she knows that a hysterectomy works because it's like kudzu. If you cut it away, it'll grow back. So when she literally compared my womb, the soul of a woman's body, where we give birth, when she compared my womb to kudzu, I checked out. So I told her I was not comfortable having a hysterectomy because I didn't have enough answers. Remember, again, this is all within the same exact doctor visit. So I gathered myself, I went home, I told my then boyfriend, and I just like literally just went headfirst into doing all my own research. I went vegetarian, I went vegan, ate for my blood type, I did Qigong, yoga, you name it, I probably tried it. And I eventually settled on uterine fibroid embolization, UFE. And what that does is basically just blocks the blood supply to the fibroid, and eventually it'll shrink and die off. So I posted on my personal Facebook page what my experience was. And I didn't really think much of it. My cousin called me maybe like a day or two later. She's like, did you see your Facebook? I was like, no. She's like, it's blowing up. So I went back and looked at the comments. I looked at my DMs, the text messages, the telephone calls. I mean, honestly, I probably was maybe 100 to 200 people reached out to me saying that was for my girlfriend, that was for my mother, that was for me, that was for my wife, that was for my sister. I mean, women who I had not seen since high school were reaching out to me. Now, mind you, my son is 27 years old. So that kind of tells you I'm kind of dating myself. But it's so funny because before all this happened, I was telling my husband, I said, I feel like God is calling me to help women, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I feel like, and it wasn't necessarily just help women. I felt like God was like literally pulling on me to help people. And I didn't know how. I was like, what am I supposed to do? I can just feel it in my gut. And when that happened, I go, oh my gosh, that's it. I'm supposed to help women, educate them on fibroids. So I started the Fibroid Pandemic. I started an Instagram page. I didn't really know what direction I was going to go, but now here I am a year and a half later, and the Fibroid Pandemic has a website. I have my following, I have my YouTube channel, my private Facebook group, and basically the Fibroid Pandemic was created to help educate women and their families on the opportunities that they have as far as overcoming fibroids, as well as providing various options or various resources out there. So that's the background of how the Fibroid Pandemic was created, and that's the premise of what we stand on.
Yes, yes. And you know, you and I both spoke. For everyone listening and reading and hearing this, seeing this, it truly was initially, it hit home. You know, it hits us more than this happens so often. And to hear your story, it moves us to actually tell others there's alternate routes to this. You don't have to go
Absolutely.
straight dead into taking your womb.
Absolutely.
I will definitely say, personally, my mother did go through that as well. I went to go see her at the hospital, and I didn't understand very much. You know, I spoke to you at the private photo shoot. And the more you spoke of it, the more I listened to what you were saying, and I'm like, she's really in tune to this. Like, this hit her like directly. So
Yeah.
it makes us as young ladies want to be like, well, if this happened to her, this can easily happen to me. Or if it happened to my mom, or if it happened to my sister or my auntie, this can easily happen to me. And, you know, our
Absolutely.
womb is everything. We are
Everything.
essentially surrounded by that. That's how we navigate, bring life, create life, and just do
Absolutely.
everything, you know? So
Absolutely.
yes, your platform is definitely appreciated. It's needed. I want to thank you on behalf of everybody, for what it is that you do.
Absolutely.
Everything happens at the appropriate time. So if it were
Mm-hmm.
not for you going to the doctor that day for a simple visit, we would have not been here right now. So everything
At
happens
all.
in due time. And I do believe that you have that calling. Like, you're very tactful when you talk to us as well. You're very mindful of people's situations, but you get the message across, and that's what's important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're
Mm-hmm.
tactful as well as very knowledgeable. So I want to thank you for that, sis.
Oh, thank you. You know, I am so passionate about this. Like, and honestly, I have to be intent with turning it off. I have a family and I have a job and I have, friends, and I have to turn the fibroid pandemic off sometimes, but it's so hard because when I tell you, I can feel it in my gut. Like when I just have a regular conversation with the woman, they're like, yeah, girl, I can't go because my menstrual's on. And I'm like, well, how long your period been on? Because you just said this a couple weeks ago. My period's been on for 45 days. What? And what are you doing about that? Like 45 days straight. What are you doing about that? Well, I take iron and I do this. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm so passionate about it. And the more I talk about it, the more I talk about it, the more I realize how passionate I am. So I appreciate you for saying that.
And why do you think that it's so important for us? Like, let us know and let every other young lady listening, my following is mostly young ladies. So, why do you think it's very important that we detect fibroids early on instead of later on, like, oh, we'll get to it. If it happens to me, we'll get to it. Why do you think it's important now before you get to that point, to know, to be informed?
Right.
Why is that?
That's a very good question. So for starters, uterine fibroids, they are non-cancerous tumors of a woman's uterus. Approximately 70% of women within their baby bearing ages will be plagued with uterine fibroids, 70%. We're talking from age 15 up to 50. And of that segment, 80% are African-American women. 80% are African-American women. Now, if you don't do anything about fibroids, I'll be the first one to admit, when I first got diagnosed, it wasn't a major issue for me. So I didn't really think much of it. But you start experiencing things like menorrhagia, which is heavy and or prolonged menstrual cycles, like I said, 30 to 45 days straight. With that, you can develop anemia and low iron, anemia. Anemia affects your hair, skin, and nails. So a lot of times women with fibroids, they have these heavy periods, their hair is falling out, their skin's breaking out, their nails are brittle, they're constipated, they have pica, right? Which is the urge to eat something that's non-nutritious. Constipation, pica, bloating, inflammation, and then that's not even including the impact that it has on your family. I always say we provide resources to women in their family because if a woman with fibroids, if her menstrual has been on for 45 days, she's going to be extremely lethargic, very tired. She's not going to have the strength or the wherewithal to go play with her kid after school, play in the backyard. She's just not going to want to. And I know firsthand because that was me. It affects your intimate life with your significant other because if you've been bleeding for 45 days straight, guess what? There's going to be a lot of stress there, But even on the days when you're not, if you have inflammation, bloating, and constipation, and I am very, very transparent, so if this is too much for someone, they probably don't want to, this is probably not the conversation you want to have. But just think of it like this. If you've gone 4 days without having a bowel movement and your significant other wants to be intimate, will have physical intercourse because there's different levels to intimacy, right? But if you've gone 4 days, you're constipated, haven't had a bowel movement, and you're bloated, imagine how strenuous that will be on your relationship. So number one, the main reason why it's important is because when you catch it sooner, it can help as far as minimizing any impact to your fertility. Because if you don't catch it, oftentimes it may require a hysterectomy. However, oftentimes if you catch it early, what I mean by catch it early, women, the fibroid you can have multiple fibroids. They can start from the size of a tiny seedling all the way up to the size of a cantaloupe. So we're talking seedling, blueberry, walnut, orange, apple, grapefruit, all the way up to a cantaloupe. You're talking 11 centimeters. That's about the size of a cantaloupe, right? I had 2 major large ones. One was 11 centimeters, the other was 7. I was carrying around a 4 to 6 month baby. So no wonder why people are asking, was I pregnant? I'm going to the gym on a regular. I was offended. Like, what do you mean? So for me, honestly, receiving the diagnosis of uterine fibroids was actually a silver lining. I was like, after I started doing my research, I was like, that's why I'm always tired. That's why I never want to have sex. It's very tasking. So the main reason why, and there's obviously several reasons, but the main reason why women want to act sooner than later, get back into the driver's seat of your life. Don't become a hostage of your own body. You know how many women take off the first 3 days, they take off of work or either take off of school the first 3 days of their menstrual cycle? You know how many women say their sick days, right? Say their sick days and their vacation days for their menstrual cycle? Break out of that house jail. Get back into the driver's seat of your life and take your life back. You will thank yourself later. You'll be so happy that you did it. So like a lot of doctors out the gate, like me, they're recommending a hysterectomy. About 60% of hysterectomies that are performed are not even necessary. So imagine I went and got a hysterectomy just without doing my own research. Now knowing what I know now, right? It would not have been warranted. But there are so many women having hysterectomies because they let it go so far. This is so far gone. They're just like, I can't take it anymore. I get it. I understand. But start the game earlier and just take your life back. Take your life back.
Yeah, and at that point, it's like you're passing us the baton. It's like, well, I gave you the information, girl. Like, what are you doing about it?
Yes.
And then at that
Yes.
point, it's like, do you love yourself enough to take care of yourself? And do you
Mhm.
love others around you enough to let them know what's going on? You know?
Absolutely. And to your point about to let them know what's going on, women don't talk about it. They do not talk about it. And the reason why is because oftentimes, just based on conversations I've had, what I realize is that the topic about uterine fibroids usually starts by talking about your menstrual cycle, talking about your period. Nobody wants, as an adult, you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s. When I was diagnosed, I was right before I turned 40 years old. You don't want to talk about the fact that you had an accident while at work because people look at you like you're a grown woman. What do you mean you had an accident? It's embarrassing. It's humiliating. You don't want to talk about how, you ended up coughing and staining someone's car seat. You don't want to talk about that, right? But that's the thing, to your point, women are not talking about it. And I'm such a keen proponent of break the silent suffering. And I say silent suffering because women are suffering in silence. You're at home, you're behind closed doors, you're in the bed, you're sitting on the couch. No, get back into the driver's seat and take your life back.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to love yourself to be able to do that. A lot of times we might
Absolutely.
think, oh, I've been working too hard. I'm just tired. Or,
Mhm.
oh, I don't feel like I'm just tired. I don't want to go out and play with my kids right now. I'll do it this
Yep.
weekend. And we put it off, but we don't pick up the signs because we're not informed as to how, if we're not informed about fibroids, how this impacts our life, how it slows us
Absolutely.
down, and then we don't see the bigger picture. So we just
Mhm.
classify it on something else. So we go to Google. We let Google be the
Mhm.
doctor and be like, oh,
Dr.
yeah,
Google,
I
right?
too much.
I mean, for me, I honestly, I was like, gosh, this is what it feels like getting older. I just thought because I was getting older. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say it. As of today, I'm 46 years old. I
Girl,
just thought,
you rocking it well. I just want to say, girl, you
well,
rocking
I'm
it
trying to be
well.
like you,
Okay.
bro. But I mean, when I tell you, I honestly just thought, having a sudden urge of having to go to the bathroom, you can't hold it.
Yep.
Because I was getting older. No, it's because you have a life-size baby on your womb. That's why you can't hold it.
Mhm. And back to what you were saying, it does affect your life. And not
Mhm.
just your own life. That's why you're a key a
Yeah.
key advocate to take the wheel back, be in the driver's seat of your own life, because it not only affects your life, it affects everybody around you.
Everyone around you. It does. It affects your work life. It affects your life with your significant others. I mean, it affects your life with your children. I mean, it affects every single aspect of your life, and mainly because of the silent suffering. You have to adjust around your menstrual cycle, but if you don't know if your menstrual is going to be 8 days or 28 days, how do you adjust?
Mhm.
Right? I mean, you can't go on vacation to the beach because you don't want to be on the beach all and having 3 layers of clothes on. I've had to do that.
Wow.
I'd be the first one to say when I first got diagnosed, I didn't realize how much of a silver line, how much of a blessing it was until later. Hindsight is 2020. And I was like, wow, this is really um, profound for me, because I'm just grateful of my personality because having type A personality allowed me to do my own research. Again, had I listened to the doctor, I would have had a hysterectomy. I want to be clear that there's nothing wrong with having a hysterectomy if it's truly warranted. There's nothing wrong with that. However, again, 60% of hysterectomies that are performed are not necessary. And I mean, I would have been part of that statistic, and I'm proved that. I mean, right now, after having my procedure, it was not surgery. I was in and out. It was outpatient. I left literally with the Band-Aid, no stitches. And I was back on my feet within 24 to 48 hours, taking it slow for about a week or so. But I mean, I was fine, and I would not change it for the world. I really would not.
Yeah, and you're helping us too. So, like you mentioned, it's okay if that's the path that you choose, and that's the path
Yes.
that has to be taken, you know. But
Mhm.
in order for us to decide what is the appropriate path for us to take, we have to be informed. We have to be
Absolutely.
able to be knowledgeable, and take your word for it, but also do our own research. It doesn't
Yep.
doesn't take that much to actually love yourself and read up on what's going on with your own body.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. You got to love yourself. You
Yep.
got to love yourself.
hmm Yeah. So, and I will definitely second what you said. As girlfriends, we always talking about, oh, girl, I got this new business idea. Girl, look what I did this weekend, or we're gonna do
Mhm.
this, and my business is popping. But at times it's like, do I tell her that I had an accident at work? Nah, I just keep that shit to myself. But we have to
Mhm.
have these conversations. So I want to thank you
Yep.
for having the conversations, and then
Mhm.
hopefully more and more of our sisters see this and they're like, well, did y'all hear what our sister Latoya talk about? Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and then it'll open up more conversations.
Mhm.
So I think that
Yeah,
that's
because women, they're not having the conversation. I mean, even like in my private Facebook group, I'll post things every so often. I don't post it as often because it's so funny because a lot of women who are in that group, I invited some of them asked to be invited, asked to join. And what's so funny is that I'll post something, they'll send me a DM. It's like, this is a private group. Why are you sending me? Everyone in here, every woman in this group probably has the same exact situation, or they know someone who has. And why are you sending? And they'll send me a DM, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, they're not, people just are not comfortable. And I'm like, look, we got to get from behind that veil. Like, get from behind that veil and just, again, take your life back. Take it back.
most definitely, most definitely. So for everybody listening, girls, young ladies, women, sisters, aunties, mothers, all the above. If y'all are hearing, seeing, or reading this, please make sure y'all tune into her private Facebook page. It's private. You don't lose anything by just tapping in and just listening, commenting. Don't be ashamed of
Mhm.
that. Comment all you
Yep.
want. It's private. It's there for you to feel
It's
comfortable to
there for
open up
you.
to
Exactly.
everybody else. We're
Hmm.
we're breaking down barriers, sis, and we're doing it
I
thanks to
love it.
you.
I
Yes.
love it. I love it. I
Yes.
love
Yes. So
it.
I want to ask you, you're filled with so much greatness, so much light, and we
Oh,
can
you're so
clearly see
sweet.
that by the information you pour into us, the time you dedicate to give
Mhm.
to us so we can become informed. What do you think would make this world a better place coming from your experiences?
So, from the perspective of the fibroid pandemic, eliminating 100% eliminating period poverty. A lot of people don't never even heard of period poverty. So basically, period poverty is the inability of being able to afford sanitary products. Um, it plagues more women here in the United States than what you may ever know. And obviously, it's a lot more devastating nationwide, especially in third world countries. So if I can have things my way, I would have it to where there was no such thing as period poverty. A woman should not have to decide whether she wants to put gas in her car to get to work, right? Or buy sanitary products. A woman should not have to decide whether she's gonna skip lunch at work or skip lunch on the weekends so that she can afford sanitary products. A woman should not have to wear a sanitary product for 12 hours straight because she's trying to ration them out, you know, because she doesn't have enough money to have have a lot, have an abundance, you know. And as embarrassing as I can say it is, I'm not embarrassed. I've been there, you know. Raising my child as a single parent, I was 19 years old. He and I grew up together. I was literally pushing on my birthday. So our birthdays the one day apart. Only reason why, because he came at 12:30 a.m. So I was literally pushing him out on my birthday, but technically his birthday's a day after, as I digress. But yeah, I mean, it plagues all of us. So that would be one thing if I could change the world.
Yes, absolutely. You know, I'm just going to put it out there. I've been that chick too. 3 children, 3 jobs at the office. Like,
Mhm.
I think I could wear this for 2 more, 3 more hours, 3 more pushing. And I feel guilty in my mind, but I'm still smiling. Like, I'm going to get this done. I got this.
Yep.
In my mind, I know I got to stretch this amount that I brought with me because I got this much at home. And I'm like, I don't have it to break for another bag of tampons or pads. I went from tampons to pads. And, you know, I learned
Mhm.
that pads, some of them, the chemicals that they use, it does make your flow heavier. You know, it does make you, you know.
Yeah. So we can do a whole other segment on that. I can talk about that for um, you are 100% right. Actually, tampons are worse.
Yeah.
Tampons are worse. I always say that inserting a tampon to a woman's vagina is literally feeding your womb a slow death. And if you would like for me to get into that more, I'll be happy to, or we can just move
We got
forward. So,
time, sis. So I don't know about you because I read that and I was like, huh. I was like, oh, okay.
mhm,
Because you know, my mom, she's from Mexico. So then what she had
mhm,
to do, she had to make her own. She would make like cloth ones and she would like
mhm,
wash them and then have backup. And
mhm.
it's a third world
I
country.
have cloth ones that I wash and I will leave them out to dry, air dry. And my husband's like, ugh. I'm like, just don't look at it.
Hey, bro,
Closet
this,
behind it, you know, behind the door.
hey, bro, this doing me a service and doing you a
Right.
service at the same
Doing you a
damn
service,
time. Okay.
exactly. But yeah, about the sanitary products. So, and I'm talking about the tampons as well as pads, right? Sanitary napkins. So basically, what happens is they should be called unsanitary napkins. And the reason why is because they send these items through like a 6 to 8 stage bleaching process to make them pure, to make them, you know, a lot of them are recycled products. So we're talking about getting your sanitary products from the darn dump and recycling them from the dump, right? Do your research, people. Like the stuff I tell people, I always just go do your research. You're getting it from me for free. But when you do your research, you will be amazed. But these are recycled products, plastics, that they're sending through an 8 stage bleaching process, chemical process to make them look pure and white. And now they've gotten really creative where they say 100% organic or 100% cotton. Well, usually what happens is if you read the label really good, the top layer is cotton. But these things have 6, 7, 8 layers. What else is underneath there, right? They have this one main chemical. I mean, there's dozens of other chemicals, but one main chemical called dioxin is actually outlawed in other countries. And they allow you to put dioxin in our sanitary napkins. Like, no, that actually it's just like cigarettes. The nicotine is addictive. So the more you smoke, the more you're going to want to smoke. The more you want to smoke, the more you're going to smoke. So it's like a domino effect. Same thing with sanitary napkins. The more you wear your pads, the more it's going to contribute to heavier flow. The heavier your flow is, the more you're going to need the product. So it's just like a domino effect. So it's no different. So I tell women to focus on 100% chemical-free organic products. I am a huge proponent. I am a distributor, be 100% transparent. I am a distributor of the Cherish brand sanitary napkins, the premium sanitary napkins. They actually have an ion strip, which helps with cramping. It also helps with bloating and it also helps control odor. And what's really neat, they're super duper absorbent. If you go to my YouTube channel, and again, I don't have a lot of stuff on YouTube because I focus the majority of my sorry, my computer. I focus the majority of my stuff on Instagram, but I did a demonstration. And I told people when I did the demonstration, when that camera was on, I never did one prior to that. So I honestly didn't know what to expect. So when I did a demonstration, I poured water on it, and I took paper towels, and I, placed my hands, and you can see the sanitary, the Cherish brand versus the other brand, how much it really absorbed. That one with the Cherish was almost bone dry. And I was like, and it's so funny because I tell people I didn't do it in advance. So I didn't know what to expect. So then I took it apart, dissected it, and then I even poured more water, and it was still being absorbent. So aside from its super duper absorbency, it's a lot healthier too.
So we'll definitely have to like contact you. We'll definitely need to know exactly where we can get the products, the specific name of them. I'm actually going to try it myself because I look at pads and it's like we have a love and hate relationship. I know what you're doing for me. I know what you got in you, but I absolutely do not like you. So it's a love-hate situation. So I'm actually going to try it. I'll let you know how that works out.
Yeah. Please do. And I tell people, I say, give yourself 90 days. So I would say go through a 3 months supply, because what happens is just like anything else that you are used to, like if you go from bone straight to curly or from braids to locks or whatever, it takes some getting used to. So we have what's called PTSD, that's post-traumatic syndrome. And so post-traumatic stress disorder, excuse me. And what happens is we're conditioned to believe that it's not working, it's not doing what I expected it to do, because you're used to going to the bathroom every hour on the hour to check yourself, right? So you may not really feel that wet sensation as much because of the ion strip, and also the way that it's manufactured, it helps really keep you drier. But also the thing is that it's very thin. So when you first see it, you're gonna be like, what is this little play crap? I'm not like, I was like, when I first tried, I was like, what is this? But now I literally have not used any other product probably in over a year. Yeah, probably in over 1 full year. And I love it. As long as they continue to make them. Actually, it is a Black-owned company. It's a brown-owned company. I'm a huge supporter of it. If you actually go to the fibroidpandemic.com, go to resources, you'll be able to shop my store called Pad. The name of my store is called Pad the Pandemic, and it's on the Fibroid Pandemic website.
I love it. Well, Shouty over here finna be on that shit. I need that.
Girl, text me your address. I'll send you a pack. Look, I got some right here.
Let's see what.
So yeah, I didn't even intend on doing this, but since we're talking about it, this is the brand right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's
a little
Cherry.
higher. Oh wow, that's nice.
Yeah, it's just small little square pack. This is the night use, and this is the day use. Oh, wow. But I mean, the difference is that you're not going to get 24, and I don't even know how many come in a regular pack now. It's been so long, because remember before that I had my IUD, so. This one has 8, the night use has 8 pads, the other has 10. And I'll tell you, when I first used it the very first time I used it, Leslie, the company reached out to me. It's like, hey, you just want to try our pads? I was like, what I got to lose? I need to use them anyway. Right. So I tried them, and I kept saying to my husband, this is crazy. I was like, this is weird. So after the 3rd day, he's like, why do you keep saying that? I was like, because I ain't changed my pad all day long. Now, I will say I'm the first one to say, like, when my menstrual comes on the first 2 days, it's usually the second day is usually the heaviest. But I'll tell you, when I use it the very first time, we're talking a person who would go through about 6 pads a day, honestly, about 6 pads a day. And that's literally checking it every hour and a half for me, to 6 pads over the course of my menstrual. 6. So 2 the first day, 2 the second, no, maybe 3 the first day, maybe 1 the second day, and then taper it off. 6 the first time, the first month. And I was like, you know what? For me, I'm not a skeptic, but I'm not easily sold. And if someone would have told me that, I'd be like, this is BS. Had I not tried it myself, and there's nothing anyone can do to ever get me to change. Bottom line, never again, ever. Nope, I won't do it.
Exactly. And then you get to see the natural reaction of our body when it's in its natural state. So then it
Yep.
makes you think, well, what do these other things have that's making me bleed so much? And this is normal.
Absolutely. You get it. You get it. You get it.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm definitely gonna go ahead and go on your website and buy some because Shadi over here needs it. I'm telling you, it's a love-hate situation. Hopefully you could change things, for me because
I
I
love
need it.
it.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Thank you. Everybody listening,
Absolutely.
everybody seeing this, everybody reading this. Make sure y'all go ahead and tap into that product. We're gonna change lives. That's what we're doing. We're gonna
I
change lives
love
right now.
it. We're gonna change lives. Yes, we are.
Hey. So yeah, thank you for that. We're
Absolutely.
thinking that it's normal to go through these life cycles like this because
Mhm.
they hit us when we're young because they know that when we're young, we after puberty, during puberty, we hit these
Mhm.
cycles, the natural
Yep.
cycles. So they hit us young with the products, and like you said, it
Right.
becomes an addiction. So then our body's used to this
And I
cycle.
mean, and that's the thing, our mothers are not talking to us about it. Because like you said, your mom, I was so sorry to hear that. But my mom also, my late mother, she also had it and had fibroids. But back then they called them tumors. So I remember when I was diagnosed, I was like, wait a minute. So when I started doing my research, I talked to my sister, because remember, I'm the youngest. I talked to my sisters and brothers. I was like, wait, didn't mom have what's called like a tumor surgery? They're like, yeah. I was like, that was fibroids. That's totally what it was. She had tumor surgery. She had a hysterectomy. My mother-in-law, my husband didn't even know that his mom had it until I started talking about it. She's like, oh yeah, I did too. My husband's godmother, my best friends, family within, and I'm not even going to mention names because I respect people's privacy, but family members, best friends. I mean, when I started talking about it, one girl's like, yeah, I had a laparoscopic myomectomy. I was like, when did you do that? How'd that go? I mean, girl, we're not talking about it. I want women to is there an Amber Alert? I want women to take their life back. You'll be amazed at what you can do. Think of it, if you were once paralyzed from the waist down and you were immobile. Then all of a sudden you get your legs back, you get your wings back. That's what it's going to be like. I promise you. I promise you. Don't wait. Don't wait at all. Do something about it.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. And yeah, to touch back on that, you never know who has gone through it or knows somebody close to
Mhm.
them that's gone through it or is going through it.
Absolutely.
It's normal. So let's make it normal
Mhm.
to talk about it, right?
Yep, absolutely. Let's talk about periods.
Yeah,
Let's talk. Simple as that. Girl, you bleeding you when your period come on.
right, right. And usually, the funny thing is like if I'm around my mama, we're like tuned in the same area and we're like, oh, okay, I see you,
Mhm.
Shawty.
Yep. For women, I forget what it's called, but it's a proven scientific fact that when women are within each other's presence for so long, their menstrual sync up. I forget what that's called though, but yeah, it's true. It happens, which is weird.
Yeah. So now make it normal to do it healthy and talk about it and do
Exactly.
something about it.
Well, you're gonna sync up anyway. Let's talk about.
Mm, most definitely. But you've dropped so many gems today, and I just want to thank you. I understand,
Absolutely.
you have a family as well. So I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy entrepreneur business and family life to come on my show. It's really an honor.
Absolutely.
I definitely want to ask you, besides all the gems you've been dropping on us,
Mhm.
are there any pointers, any pieces of advice that you would like to give us, young,
Mhm.
successful entrepreneurs? And when I say that, I just mean everybody, because right now
Mhm.
entrepreneurship doesn't have an age. We look
Mhm.
different, we are aged differently, and everybody's out here
Mhm.
trying to adventure into what we're really
Mhm.
put on this earth to do. Um,
Right.
because last year really woke us up. you know?
Yeah, it really did. Number one, from a business perspective, always know your craft. Always know your craft. Do not assume, do not duplicate. Always know your craft. Like I said, when I did my research, a lot of the information I found, I was going through a coaching program. But I didn't just let it stop there. I also looked at scholar articles and medical journals to get to the bottom of it for myself. Because if I'm trying to mimic you, right? If someone fires off all these questions, and if I don't have your information right there, I'm not going to know my craft. But if I know my craft, no matter what circumstance I am put into, you can't go inside my brain and eliminate it. Always know your craft, number one, as a business professional, whether you are an entrepreneur, working for someone, whatever, and always show up. Always show up. And what I mean by that is don't be late, right? Do not be late. If you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. That's actually what we teach our mentees. So always make sure you are on time. And the third thing I would say is don't take shortcuts. Excuse me. Don't take shortcuts. What I mean by that is like, pay people who are experts in certain things, right? If you're looking for someone to do your taxes, pay a professional. Don't take shortcuts. If you're looking for someone to I don't know, let's say give you business advice, forget Dr. Google. Do your research, hire a licensed consultant, hire a coach. If you're looking for information on mental health awareness, right? Hire a mental health professional. If you're looking for someone to coach you on fibroids, hire the Fibroid Pandemic.
Right. And that's true. You definitely can't take shortcuts in life because you won't. So my thing is you have to accept the trials, the opportunities of learning something in life, but sometimes they're not always like easy going. You got to go through the fire to understand what you had to learn to refine who you are. So then when the blessings at the end of the tunnel, you're like, that's why I had to go through that. That's why I value it much more.
And you will value it much more, and you'll have a better sense of self-respect after that too. I guarantee you. Like right now, there's nothing that anyone can tell me about fibroids that I probably don't know. However, I am very open to being very transparent that I don't know everything. But what I know, I know. But what I don't know, I'm open to it.
Yeah.
And I would say is be a lifelong learner. Always, always be willing to shift and ebb and flow. Be a lifelong learner because obviously, it's so funny. My husband's in there watching Footloose, and there is a scene where the guy's like, "Hey, are you rich?" He's like, "Why?" He said something to the effect of he never saw anyone buy a tape or something like that. And I'm like, "What?" And they're playing like a cassette tape, like a boom box. And I was like, boy, if my God kids would see that, they would have no idea what it is. But the reason why I say that is because obviously in this technological world, in this technology age, things are always evolving. You have to learn how to ebb and flow and be a lifelong learner. And if there's something you don't know, research it and or hire a professional.
Yes, yes, definitely have to be able to humble yourself along life, on that path that you're on to always grow. You have to be able
Absolutely.
to be humble enough to accept advice and knowledge. Someone that thinks they
Mhm.
know it all, they'll be like, "No, I don't need to hear that." Whatever. You have to take
Absolutely.
you have to take the information in order to grow. It's gonna help you grow.
You are
That's
so
it.
right. Exactly. Be a lifelong learner.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And back to what you were saying too, you definitely have to, all of us, we have to be able to be true to ourselves, like knowing our
Mhm.
craft, like you were mentioning.
Yep.
People
Yep.
will come and go trying to mimic what you're doing. And if they're really not up on game and passionate about the drive that they have on that path, like you said,
Mhm.
they won't know what they're talking about.
They won't.
The true ones will stand out. So definitely know your
That
purpose.
part.
Yes.
That part.
Yes.
The true ones will stand out. And it's up to you to make sure you're part of the ones who are standing out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I appreciate you too, dear.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's all love. You know what's up. Um, so I always hit everybody at the end with a House of Ramirez shout out. We got the spotlight on you and you look gorgeous, by the way. Let me just put that out there. Okay.
You're so sweet.
Yeah, and I really value you as a sister, as well
You're
as
so
a
sweet.
very powerful movement that's causing change in our communities. And the spotlight's on you right now, but
Mhm.
I want to go ahead and give you the opportunity to put the spotlight to the people in your corner that have been supporting you along this journey that you're taking, to pour into us. So who would you like to shout out?
Honestly, and I was thinking about that. There are so many people who have been in my corner, and this may sound cliche, but there are so many that I'm kind of afraid to mention, because if I forget someone, I don't want to be offensive. Obviously, my husband, my family, my girlfriends have been rock stars. I mean, they're literally like my guinea pig. I'll put out information first, and I'll say, hey, look, let's jump on a Zoom call, and I have them on the call for 2 hours, and my niece helps me with my social media. She's like, no, auntie, you got to do it like this, or, when I ask them just to be involved, just give me their feedback, be involved, participate in this online questionnaire. Let me know what you think. I mean, my family and my friends have been rock stars. But what I will do is just say, everyone from a business perspective who's been there from day one or even day now, I appreciate them. Again, I don't feel comfortable with mentioning one individual or one company, because I have so many relationships with people that I honestly do not want to leave anybody out, because I have to charge it to my brain and not my heart. So I'm going to leave it at that. But I will say that my tribe has been super duper amazing. When I tell you, Leslie, I am beyond passionate about it. I am passionate about this, and I don't take anything for granted. So, like you said, getting back to humility, I'm always humbling myself. I appreciate House of Ramirez for bringing me online to talk to you. I didn't really know what to expect. I'm so happy that we had this conversation. And I just want to turn the spotlight back on you and tell you, sister, to continue doing what you're doing, because to provide this type of platform for people is amazing. We're not here to compete. We're here to uplift one another. And to your point, when you and I met at that photo shoot, we clicked immediately. I was like, I got to talk to her. She's so funny. She's amazing. I love your energy. So don't you ever, ever change that energy. Never change your energy, girl. It's amazing.
Thank you, sis.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody was just flowing. The energy was just flowing. Shout out to Lauren at Elevate Health. She brought
shout out to Lauren at Elevate Health.
Yeah. But it's mutual, sis. It's a two-way street. So, I'm here for you. I know you're here for me. And that's really what it's all about. And getting back to, how sisterhood really should be, not going against each other, but walking together.
And I'm here for it, honey.
Yeah, most def. So I appreciate you so much. Shout out to all your friends, family, everybody. I completely respect that, because it's true. You don't want to leave anybody out. And that's very loving and kind of you. So it elevates it a bit more, it tells us what type of person you are, even more, a different level type of woman.
I appreciate that so much.
Yeah. So thank you for everything. This is not the last time you're going to be on House of Ramirez. And until next time, sis, Until next time. Thank you so much, hon. You enjoy your evening. You too. Thank you.
Thanks. Yep, goodbye.
Make sure to follow House of Ramirez on all social media platforms.